Final score, Wrexham 2, Salford City 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC, and that was fun. It was great to see the players who aren't getting that much pitch time in the league showing what they can do, and a number of them certainly didn't do themselves any harm in terms of their prospects to get picked for the league side. A word for Salford though, because they, like us, rotated their team heavily. They got good strength and depth looking at that, because they played a nice brand of passing football. They were very patient, and they made more chances against us than Shrewsbury did. Fairly even game, but Wrexham coming through in the end. So like I say, Wrexham completely changed the entire side. 11 changes. Second time that Phil Parks, well, third I suppose, that Parkinson's done this season. And Salford actually, with Wrexham maybe not quite gelling, had the better of the opening exchange. I suppose that was the pattern till the last 20 minutes or so, that Salford dominated possession and made some chances. The beauty of Wrexham's deep squad, of course, is that if we are under pressure, we know that just one decent ball into a good striker, one of the many we've got, can lead to a goal. That was kind of the story of the first 20 minutes. Salford are moving it around well. Kelly and Mai on the right was looking very lively, also on the left, and was giving problems to Luke Bolton. And yeah, their best chance came after a quarter of an hour in the opening stages. Really good spell of possession. Ended with Taylor, who was also good down the right hand side, although Jacob Mendy had a very good game up against him, managing to rip a tempting ball across the face of goal. Mai slid in with the defender and couldn't quite make contact at the far post. Almost immediately Wrexham went close, and I thought this was an indication really of how the game was going at that point. Mullin picking the ball up and out of nothing hitting a speculative shot from 25 yards, but it was a good one. It looped beyond the keeper but went wide of the post. But it was I think, a sign of Mullin, the skipper, saying, Mo Farley and I are not getting enough service up here. Let's get this going. And indeed, within 3 minutes, Mullin had his first goal of the season. It was a cracking goal, although it was born out of an error by Salford. Shepherd trying to get down the right-hand side, squaring the ball really sloppily and picking up Seb Reven. And Reven carried the ball sensibly as far as he could before feeding the ball into Mullin, right of centre. And he, as he often looks to do, just cut inside, set himself and curled a delicious shot with his left foot around the keeper and into the top corner, finishing at the highest quality, and Wrexham had the lead. Salford responded well though. They stuck with their game plan. They continued to control play in midfield. It was a strange looking midfield that Wrexham picked. I mean, we looked at the team, everybody was just trying to work out exactly how it would work, because there were 4 wing backs in there. And what it was that Anthony Ford and Jacob Mendy, both making welcome returns from injury, came in. Mendy was the left wing back. The right wing back was Bolton. And then Ford played as a right-sided midfielder in the three, something he's done a lot in his career. And Reven played as the left-sided midfielder in the three, something which, as far as I'm aware, he's never done in his career. And then in the middle of them all was James Jones, who of course is a midfielder, but he's a box-to-box midfielder, isn't he? We've never used him in a central sort of controlling position like that. The trio had to bed in, and once they did a good job, I thought. But anyway, Salford, like I said, responded well to going behind. They made a chance when a free kick was whipped into the round the penalty spot, and Kouassi, well, no, beg your pardon, closer than that, it was about 6 yards out, and Kouassi got up between his men, had a free header and put it over. I've got to say, often you think, oh, the ball's come a bit high. It looks bad that you've missed from fairly close in. But, it was difficult to get to. Didn't think so on this occasion. I think Kouassi just misjudged it and put a really good chance well over. But they continued. As half-time got closer, Garbus had a free kick from about 25 yards out, maybe a bit less, which the wall deflected just wide. I suspect it would have really tested Burton had it been on target and not taken that clip. And then 5 minutes before the break, Lund, who worked hard in midfield and was always trying to offer angles, hit a shot from 25 yards. He went for placement, didn't quite get it right, but still it was a testing shot, and Burton did well to come across and palm it over the bar. The second half, similar pattern, and then in the 63rd minute came the equaliser. Mai, breaking down a left, beats Bolton. Bolton thought the ball had gone out of play, but I don't think it had, and Mai, having done that, fed in a good ball to the half-time substitute, Adelakan, who popped her off nicely to his strike partner, McElhaney, and he was very calm in the box. He just took it on and slotted the ball past a helpless Burton. So Salford were back in it, but Wrexham responded well. There was an opportunity 5 minutes after that goal. Bolton breaking in and cutting inside, hitting a really powerful cross shot. Mullin lunging into the 6-yard box in front of an open goal, just couldn't get a proper contact on it. He put it over. It was a difficult chance. This is what I'm talking about before. He was absolute full stretch. In fact, he had to stretch so much to reach it. He actually turned his back on the ball as it came in and just tried to strain himself as close to goal. And he made contact, but he just couldn't keep it down. But Wrexham responding well, and then came substitutions. And I've got to say, we used all 5 of our subs, and the substitutions really worked. I mean, we had a very strong bench of players who played last Saturday, plus Harry Ashfield and Aaron James. And yeah, the substitutions freshened us up and raised our quality, I thought. So basically, Mullin, Ford and Mendy, the 3 players coming back from injury, made way in the 68th minute and were replaced by Ollie Palmer, Ollie Rathbone and Max Cleworth. Cleworth going into a holding midfield role with James Jones stepping up to his more usual box-to-box role. And immediately we looked good. Immediately we got on top, and the last 20 minutes belonged to us. Rathbone doing well to find Farl, who in turn helped it on, and Reven breaking down the left-hand side, threateningly burst past his men with his pace, but from a tight angle tried to drive it in and drove it into the side netting. Half the ground thought it was in, but it wasn't. Then Reven, with an excellent free kick from deep, swept into the goalmouth. Farl dived for it, glancing contact when he needed something a bit further, and it went wide of the post. He was really disappointed with himself at not hitting the target. You could see that by his body language. And then he got subbed just to rub salt in the wounds. And this double sub also made a difference. Barnes coming on for Bolton, and Harry Ashfield coming on for his second appearance of his professional career for Farl. So Ashfield playing off Palmer. And oh my word, what a home debut for him. He was effervescent. He's terrific. Really lively, running at defenders, wanting to get involved in everything. And he did ever so well. 83rd minute, Wrexham got the winner. Reven again with quality, this time from the corner, sweeping it in. The keeper got blocked off, and Boyle was able to rise at the far post, only a couple of yards out, and head it into the empty net. And Wrexham had that lead. Reven, I've got to say, his delivery was very, very good. That was his second assist of the match. And Wrexham, looked to be enjoying themselves then. It became a bit end-to-end, but we were the side that looked like we had something to offer as the game got stretched. Ashfield feeding the ball in, Cleworth doing brilliantly to poke a return pass when he was under pressure, and Ashfield driving on from about 30 yards to the edge of the box and hitting a rasping shot that went just over the bar. In added time, there was one last chance for Salford. They brought on Cole Stockton, who of course had a pretty anonymous loan spell with us, but since then has gone on to score loads of goals. He came on up front and he had a chance. First minute of 4 added on. Tom Edwards ripping in a terrific cross to the near post. Stockton got there first, but it was hard to tell if he got a poor contact or no contact, but the ball whizzed across the face of goal and it was a goal kick. In fact, it was Wrexham who had the last effort on goal. Barnes feeding a high diagonal, Palmer knocking it down adroitly, and Ashfield on the edge of the area. Back to goal, taking a touch, spinning and hitting a fine shot, which again just whistled over the bar. A fun match, an enjoyable game to watch. We saw some players on the fringes really impress, and with Dobson and Lee carrying injuries at the moment, you hope they're fit for Birmingham. Cannon might be as well, you would hope, but certainly some of these players didn't do themselves any harm. So looking at the performances, Burton had nothing to do really. He had one difficult save to make, he made it well, palming it over the bar, and the goal he had no chance for. It would have to be a terrific save to stop that. The 3 centre-backs, didn't do themselves any harm. I thought Dan Scarr particularly was terrific. He's, you could really see, we didn't see as much at Sheffield United, we didn't, his physicality. He dominates the penalty area. This guy's brought in as a major signing and he's not been able to break in yet, but you could see those qualities there. He was a really strong central defender in that 3. to his left, Boyle had a good game, not just with the goal. He looked very solid. And likewise, Brunt, who had some fun charges down the right-hand side during the first half as well. He's got a decent range of passing, I think, Brunt, too. You can see how he fits into that Wrexham profile of having wide centre-backs who want to join in and step into midfield. The wing-backs, Bolton didn't have the happiest time defensively against his old team, and Mai was lightning, and Bolton picked up a yellow quite early on as well. And so it was a little bit of a challenge for him. Mendy looked excellent, really strong defensively. As I said, Taylor was trying to take him on round the outside constantly and rarely got a cross in. Mendy was very good defensively and linked up nicely in attack too. In the middle of midfield, like I said, that rather unorthodox midfield, but they did well. Ford, I like Ford. He's a good technical player. And I hope he gets to show he's fit and get that registration. I think this would have been a decent step towards that. But he was, he did a good, solid job on like I say, in one of the flank positions in the midfield three, and used the ball intelligently. I thought Jones was good, played a real discipline. Like I said, he wants to drive up and down, but he knew that wasn't what they were using him for on this occasion, and he was nice and tight in that defensive role. A little bit more of a defensive midfielder maybe than we usually have in our team. He was sitting off and protecting the back three quite a lot. Made some good interventions, used the ball well, and then Reven was terrific. I mean, 2 assists, constantly threatening with his pace. Had a couple of good efforts and goals, as I said, and used the ball intelligently. Good stuff from Reven. I've really, really liked him. And when he went out to left wing back, where halfway through the second half and Mendy came off, he again was still a constant threat and getting around the outside and causing issues. Up front, well, Mullin, great to see him get good minutes under his belt. Great to see him get that goal. What a beauty it was. And apart from that, it was typical Mullin, chasing everything, trying to make things happen. Fal had an interesting debut. He was really trying to link up, and some of the things he tried were cute and worked. Some didn't. So he was a bit of a curate's egg performance, but he did all right. He didn't threaten the keeper really, though. That's the next stage you want to step onto. But you can see what we've identified there. He's quick and he's strong. He wins a decent amount of headers, and I think it's going to be an interesting acquisition. The substitutes, like I said, I think really turned the game. They're fresh legs. Rathbone working like crazy. He's got a decent turn of pace on him as well, driving on in midfield. Cleworth was tremendous as a defensive midfielder. He's done it before. I remember him being the best Wrexham player by a distance on the pitch at Ibrox when we played in the Tunnocks Caramel Wafer Cup. And he was excellent in that role. He was really good. His interceptions were terrific, kept stepping in. His passing was excellent. Wow. He's such a prospect at centre-back, but frankly, he's such a prospect at central defensive midfielder as well. Wow. Ashfield came on. He was terrific. I've said what I want to say about him really, but he was lively. He liked to drop off. He could play alongside Palmer too. Nice striker's instinct with that second effort when he turns and hits it. He just was so sharp, and you could see he was enjoying himself out there. He looks technical. He wants to join in with moves and interact with players and find little angles for passes. It's very, very exciting home debut. Palmer came on up front and again did really well. Set up a couple of chances for Ashfield. The two of them linked together. In fact, in a way, I would have been interested to see Fal alongside Palmer for longer than the 10 minutes they got, because I think we're seeing a lot this season and the end of last season just how easy it is to link up with Palmer. Mullin's got a great combination with him. Now Marius is combining brilliantly with him, and it would have been interesting to see if Fal could have fed off him a little bit. But Ashfield again certainly did. And then Barnett didn't have that much time really to do anything on the right hand side, but did break forwards a couple of times using his pace, got a couple of balls into the box too. So that was fun. We're in a very strong position in that group now, and I've only played one game. Off the top of my head, I think I'm right in saying that if we beat Wolves at home in our next game, they're under 21s, we're through with a game to spare. So good stuff, and a lot of players got minutes in their legs. Some may be used at Birmingham, who knows. But that was a very enjoyable match. Our 4th biggest ever LDV crowd too. That's quite something when you think about it. You see the stadium like, sort of 2/3 full, and you think, oh my gosh, that's a shock. We get sellouts now. Listen to me, what am I saying? It's unbelievable, isn't it? But yeah, it was a fourth biggest ever crowd in this tournament. Not bad. So, very good. With the final score of Wrexham 2, Salford City 1, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.